One thing we discuss quite a bit is invasives. We've done an episode, we've talked it on a podcast, etc.
Yeah.
But we feel that it's a very important topic to discuss, to keep that narrative going, make sure that people don't forget about it.
Yeah, that's an important part. Yeah, don't forget about non-native invasive species, because candidly, I don't think it gets talked about enough.
I agree with you.
I think most landowners, they kind of look over it, or they're focused on other different things, which is fine, but you know, removing non-native invasive species from your property, I think it's a really important step as a landowner and in land stewardship. Our native wildlife have adapted and evolved and thrive on native vegetation.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way up from obviously your game animals, deer and turkeys, but our native insects rely on native plants, native wildflowers.
Yep.
And yeah, our native ecosystems rely on native vegetation and native plants, and non-native invasive species are so aggressive they can create monocultures that create a trickle-down effect that just choke out native plants and native wildlife as a result.
I mean, standing where we are, I mean, I'm looking around and that's all there is. But it's very easy to get complacent on that. And I don't know if that's the right word, where it's, you look at it on your property and it's taking space, and it's just like, well, it's there. It's fine that it's there.
Yeah.
Because it is taking up space, and it's like, well, something's using it.
Yeah.
Something,
Yeah.
If that made any sense. So it is something that feels like it's could get ahead of you, and it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I know on Cody's property, when he first started this invasive madness that he does, it was barberry, and I tell you what, you step foot on Rocking Chair Ridge now, all you see is dead barberry. You hardly see, but you see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't, this stuff will overwhelm you mentally, physically, financially.
Yeah.
And it's like you need to get a helicopter and do some aerial spraying. That's how bad some places are. But you can't. And we're going to show you some very simple ways this time of year. There's a ton of ways.
Yeah.
But let's just narrow it down just for today.
Yeah, we're going to go over a couple of ways that are most effective for me, and the resources that I have back home and have worked really well for me. And yeah, I think, it's something you can always be chipping away at. Like you said, you look at it in the grand scheme of things and it's overwhelming, and you see a thicket of autumn olive and you see a deer come out of it. You're like, well,
unnecessary evil.
Yeah, we'll just, the deer are using it, so it's, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. We can always do better, but
absolutely.
There's, just looking around here, there's Japanese Stiltgrass, multifloral rose, Tree of Heaven, autumn olive. I mean, the list goes on, but I don't think it's a war you ever win, just because, they're such prolific seeders, and they're so aggressive, but you can absolutely chip away and make a positive difference on that. And today we're just going to go over a couple ways, like I said, that I do my invasive removal this time of year back home that have been really effective for me. We're going to show you the hows, the whys, the whats. Yeah, the wins. And
easy peasy.
Yeah, have a good time doing it.
Yep.
All right, first on the hit list on our non-native invasive species removal adventure is Tree of Heaven, Ailanthus. It looks like a walnut a little bit during the summer once it's leafed out. You can see the leaf structure is similar, and if you're unsure of what plant species you want to target, talk to your private lands biologist or forester. They can help you identify problematic species and which ones to target and remove. But this is for sure an Ailanthus. And what we're going to talk about is basal spraying. A basal spray application is just spraying the bark from about ground level to 18 inches up off the ground, 360 degrees around the entire stem. We're using diesel fuel as a penetrator. And the goal here is the diesel works as a vehicle to translocate the herbicide into the plant, so the plant can metabolize it, take it down to its root system, and effectively kill the tree. So this is as simple and as easy as it is. We're going to go over, find the Ailanthus. Like I said, go from ground level a little bit, 18 inches up the tree. The diesel helps stain the bark, which helps you identify which trees have been treated and which haven't. Go all the way around the tree just to make sure the herbicide is effective, and that's all it takes. That tree is dead and it doesn't know it yet. And you can tell when you're out treating a large area, the diesel works kind of as a marker. It stains the bark, like I said, and then you can identify which trees have been treated and which haven't. But I have been really effective using this way to spray especially ailanthus trees from about this size up until, I don't know, 8-9 inches in diameter. Once they get that big, I'll hack and squirt or girdle and spray during the winter. But little stems like this, I mean, you just go around. Here's another one right here. And that little bit is about all it takes. And there, that tree is dead, 360 degrees all the way around the stem. Those two ailanthus trees are dead. They just don't know it yet. Basal spray, we're using, there are a handful of different herbicides out there. Again, talk to your private lands biologist, see what they recommend. I have most luck and most confidence. I use triclopyr 4 and I use diesel as the carrier. I've been killing ailanthus trees and autumn olive for as long as I can remember. And this is my go-to way. All right, target number 2 on our non-native invasive species removal adventure. Autumn olive. A real PITA, pain in the ass. A lot of people like it. A long time ago, back in the state of Virginia, they actually gave it away to plant to reclaim disturbed areas and actually as a wildlife food source. Thankfully, we have evolved to the point where we no longer do that and we're trying to kill it. But same process. Right here, we see the stem. We're just going to do a little basal spray application. It doesn't take much. Literally, that is all it takes. We'll run some down the backside just so we're 360 degrees. And this little bad boy, just like his buddy the ailanthus, is dead and doesn't know it yet. And what's really cool to me, and probably the most satisfying part of non-native invasive removal, is here you have an autumn olive which we have killed. It is a non-native invasive species, but under it you can see some jewelweed, which is a native plant, a native forb, highly favored by deer and other wildlife. You can see that deer have actually browsed that one. Here's another one here. And I mean, there's some more. There's another one there that's been browsed recently, actually, it looks like. But they're struggling. They're being out-competed by this autumn olive. In killing this, especially with a basal bark application, you can be really selective. We killed this ailanthus and no other vegetation around it because we just applied herbicide to the stem. We're going to release this jewelweed, give it a better chance to thrive and propagate. And just little wins like that. That's what I enjoy most about doing this work. It's giving native vegetation a chance to establish itself, to propagate, to thrive, which in turn obviously benefits our native wildlife, which is the name of the game in wildlife management. But killed this little guy. Don't feel bad about it. We're on to the next one.
Ninja kick it.
And here we're going to go after some Japanese stiltgrass. And what's really cool about this foliar application is we're going to use a grass selective herbicide, clethodim, to target the stiltgrass. And there's a handful of different native broadleafs and forbs out in this little stiltgrass infestation that are beneficial to wildlife. Here we have some jewelweed that's been browsed by a deer, some goldenrod. Here's some ragweed that's, you can tell, I mean, it's lost. It's lost in the shuffle. It's losing to stiltgrass. But by using the right herbicide at the right rate, we're just going to kill the grasses in this stand, which is steppe Japanese stiltgrass. And in the process, we're going to release these native forbs and plants and vegetation and give them a better chance to thrive and propagate and do their thing and benefit wildlife in the process. And this is as simple as it can be. That's all it takes. We killed the Japanese stiltgrass because, again, we use a grass selective herbicide. We left alone the jewelweed, the goldenrod, the ragweed, the other native beneficial plants in this stand. If we used a non-selective herbicide like glyphosate, we would have wiped everything out. But because we use clethodim, the beneficial forbs that we want to leave are okay. The stiltgrass is dead. That's what we're here to do.
So, pretty difficult.
Oh my God.
You exhausted?
Mentally and physically.
I know mentally you're...
I need a nap and a cuddle. No, it's not a lot of work.
It's not a lot of work at all.
I mean, we did a quick and dirty version of, basal bark and foliar, and we did foliar on stiltgrass, but you can do foliar on autumn olive and tree of heaven. And like I said, we could make a lengthy multi-video project about non-native invasive removal and how to go about it, different herbicides, but we just want to, more than anything, give you the confidence to go do it yourself.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
We can get complicated later.
Yeah.
We just got to, get motivated
Yeah.
to go out there. If you see how simple it is, boom.
Yeah.
You know, we'll work out the bugs as we go.
Yeah, but no, we were effective and efficient in how we did this just now. I mean, a little bit of a basal bark, a little bit of a foliar spray, and again, the main thing for me is just removing the non-native invasives and giving that native wildlife, flora and fauna, a chance. I mean, we get so focused on wildlife, sometimes we neglect the plant side of things, native vegetation, and native wildlife do best with native vegetation, not with non-native invasives.
And one thing we got to make sure that you don't fall prey is disappointment or frustration, in the sense of like spraying Japanese stiltgrass.
Yeah.
Because you kill that, there's another, it might be another flush.
Yeah.
After you kill that, there might be another flush. You have to stay
Diligent.
diligent. That's the word of the day. Diligent.
Yeah.
Jesus. But anyway, with that being said,
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. I mean, again, if you're to ever fail at this venture, it's because you're overwhelmed. And stiltgrass, I mean, what we sprayed is going to die, but it is going to come back because it is in, the seeds in the seed bank. To give non-native invasives some credit, you got to respect them. I mean, if you don't, you're going to lose. But they're prolific seeders. They're aggressive. They have the ability to take over. But again, the main takeaway is just to stay focused. It's work worth doing. More than anything, it's rewarding. It opens your mind to a bigger picture on your property. You better understand how wildlife are using it, and across the board, it's a win.
yeah, absolutely.
But as it is for us, I'm sure it is for you, wildlife is our way of life.